Welcome to Shadow Park channel. If you're new here, please subscribe, like, share and comment your thoughts for more stories like this. Title: Shadow of the Alpha. Part 1. Bound by the Alpha. The night sky was restless, heavy with clouds that moved like shadows over the full moon. Selena Blackwood stood by the window of her tiny apartment, staring down at the city below. Lagos was alive tonight, with its endless noise, neon lights, and the hum of lives she could never quite touch. She felt out of place in the world. Always had. At 21, Selena worked double shifts in a cafe just to pay rent. Life had been a steady chain of survival since her father died when she was a child, leaving only her estranged mother, Evelyn, who had vanished from her life without a trace. Selena carried the weight of abandonment like a scar, invisible but always burning. Her friend Clara, however, lived as though the world owed her excitement. That evening, Clara burst into the apartment with a dress slung over her arm and mischief in her eyes. "Get dressed, Selena," Clara said, tossing the shimmering gown onto the bed. "We're going to a party." Selena frowned. "Clara, I just finished a 12-hour shift. I can't." "You can and you will," Clara interrupted. "This isn't just any party. It's Damian Volkov's party." The name rolled across the room like thunder. Damian Volkov, the billionaire. The Mafia lord. The man whispered about in hushed tones and headlines. Selena had heard stories. Ruthless, powerful, untouchable. Rumors painted him as both savior and devil, depending on who was speaking. Selena shook her head. "You want me to walk into a Mafia lord's house? Clara, do you want to die?" Clara only grinned. "Relax. Nobody dies at his parties." "Well, not usually." Before Selena could argue further, Clara dragged her into the dress. The silver fabric clung to Selena's curves, making her look like someone who belonged to another world. Clara styled her dark hair, adding smoky makeup until Selena hardly recognized herself in the mirror. She hated it. She felt like prey dressed up for the hunt. The mansion was a palace of shadows. Crystal chandeliers dripped from the ceiling, golden light bouncing off marble floors. Men in sharp suits and women in gowns glided through the halls like predators in disguise. The air was thick with power, money, and secrets. Selena clung to Clara, but the moment she stepped inside, a chill ran down her spine. It wasn't fear. It was something stranger, like a presence brushing against her skin, whispering her name without words. And then she saw him, Damian Volkov. He stood at the top of the staircase, tall and broad-shouldered, his presence commanding the room without a sound. His black suit fit like armor, his jaw sharp as though carved from stone. But it was his eyes that caught her, silver gray, cold, yet burning with something primal. The moment his gaze found her, Selena froze. It was like being struck by lightning. Her breath caught, her heart stumbled, and for a terrifying moment she couldn't move. Damian's wolf stirred. He could feel it, the pull, the scent. The fire that clawed at his control. Among 100 faces, he had found the one that silenced everything else. His mate. The night unraveled quickly. Selena tried to disappear into the crowd, but Damian's eyes never left her. Wherever she went, she felt his presence pressing down on her like gravity. Clara chattered endlessly, but Selena barely heard a word. She slipped onto the balcony for air, clutching the railing as if it could anchor her. The city stretched out, glittering, unaware of the storm brewing inside her. "You shouldn't be here." The voice was low, deep, dangerous. Selena spun and found him standing in the shadows. Damian Volkov. Up close, he was even more devastating. His aura was overwhelming, like standing too close to a fire that could burn or save you. I didn't mean to intrude," she stammered. His eyes flicked over her, sharp and assessing, but there was something else in them. Hunger. Need. "You don't understand," Damian said softly, stepping closer. "You've already intruded. Into my world. Into me." Selena's pulse raced. "I don't even know you." "You will." His lips curved into the faintest hint of a smirk. "Because you're mine." She didn't believe him. She didn't want to. But when the sound of gunfire ripped through the night, chaos exploded. Men in black stormed the mansion, weapons drawn. Guests screamed, glass shattered, and the Mafia world revealed its teeth. Clara was dragged away in the crowd. Selena tried to run, but a bullet whizzed past her, striking the wall. Her body froze in terror. And then Damian moved. He grabbed her, pulling her into his chest as if she were the only thing worth saving. With inhuman speed, he shielded her, his growl vibrating in his throat as his eyes glowed faintly. Wolf eyes. Selena saw it. The impossible. The truth. He wasn't just a billionaire. Not just a mafia lord. He was something else. Something she should never have seen. When the attackers retreated, leaving blood and broken glass behind, Damian didn't let her go. His grip was firm, his gaze unyielding. "You can't run from this," he murmured, voice like steel wrapped in silk. "From me." Selena shook her head, trembling. "Why me? Why are you doing this?" His answer was both terrifying and intoxicating. "Because, Selena Blackwood, you belong to me. And I'll burn this entire world if I have to, just to keep you." Selena's world shifted that night, though she didn't yet understand how deeply. Damian's words sank into her like chains, heavy, terrifying, but impossible to ignore. She wanted to fight back, to scream at him for daring to claim her. But the chaos of the attack, the heat of his arms, and the way his eyes glowed like silver fire left her frozen. "Let me go," she whispered. Damian leaned closer, his voice low enough that only she could hear. "I can't." And he didn't. The hours that followed blurred. Selena found herself in the back of a sleek black car, Damian beside her, his hand resting possessively on her thigh as though to remind her that escape was not an option. Her heart thundered. She stared out the window at the city lights flashing by, every nerve in her body screaming at her to run, yet some unexplainable part of her stayed rooted. "Where are you taking me?" she asked, her voice shaking. "To safety," Damian replied smoothly. "Safety," she scoffed. "With a mafia boss. With whatever you are." His jaw tightened, but his eyes flicked to her with a strange softness that contradicted his brutal aura. "I won't hurt you, Selena. But the world will. And you need me if you want to survive it." She swallowed hard, torn between fear and something she refused to name. "I don't need you." "Yes," he said simply, "you do." The car pulled into an estate that looked like something out of a dream, or a nightmare. The mansion loomed, gothic and magnificent, with towering gates and guards at every corner. The air was thick with dominance, power, and danger. Inside, Selena was ushered into a vast room with high ceilings and velvet drapes. Everything screamed wealth, but also secrecy. Damian poured himself a glass of whiskey, his movements controlled, elegant, like a predator at rest. Selena stood near the door, refusing to sit. "Why am I here?" she demanded. He sipped his drink, watching her. "Because you stepped into my world. And once you're in, there's no walking out." Her stomach twisted. "I didn't choose this. Fate chose for you," he said. She let out a bitter laugh. "You sound insane." Damian's smirk was cold, yet there was a flicker of something in his eyes, something ancient and unshakable. "Maybe I am. But the bond doesn't lie." Selena frowned. "What bond?" His gaze pierced hers. "The one between us. You don't feel it yet, but you will. You're mine, Selena. And I'm yours." That night she dreamed of wolves. She was running through a dark forest, the moon glowing above her, branches snapping underfoot. She could feel something behind her, something powerful, fast, and unrelenting. She ran harder, her lungs burning, but the wolf was always there, glowing eyes locked on her. When it finally caught her, instead of tearing her apart, it circled her like a guardian. Its silver eyes were the same as Damian's. She woke in a cold sweat, her heart pounding. It was just a dream. Had to be. But deep down she knew it wasn't. Days passed, but Selena was not released. Damian didn't lock her in chains, yet she was never truly free. Guards watched her every move, and Damian himself appeared whenever she tried to slip away. First she hated him. She despised the arrogance in his voice, the way he claimed ownership of her as if she were nothing more than property. But she also saw glimpses of something else, the way he softened when he looked at her, the quiet protectiveness in his actions. It was infuriating. One evening she confronted him. "You can't keep me here," she said, standing tall in his study. "I'm not your prisoner." Damian set aside the papers on his desk, his gaze steady. "Then stop acting like one." Selena glared. "I have a life outside of this. Job. Friends. Friends who can't protect you," he cut in. "A job that barely feeds you. A life that was never truly yours. You belong in this world, Selena. You just don't know it yet." her fists clenched. "You're insane." His expression shifted, growing darker. "Insane? Maybe. But look me in the eyes and tell me you feel nothing." She opened her mouth, ready to deny it, ready to call him a liar. But when his eyes locked onto hers, glowing faintly under the light, her words died. 'Cause she did feel something. Something wild, dangerous, and magnetic pulling her closer. She hated it. She hated him for it. The cracks in her resistance deepened one night when danger returned. Adrian Knight. The name meant little to Selena at first, but she quickly learned he was Damian's greatest rival. Another mafia lord. Another alpha. But unlike Damian, Adrian played his role differently. Charming, disarming, seductive in his lies. Adrian sent his men to strike at Damian's mansion. Wolves fought in the shadows of the estate. Selena caught glimpses of glowing eyes, snapping jaws, and blood staining the night. Amidst the chaos, Adrian himself appeared, stepping from the darkness with a smile that made her shiver. "You don't belong to him," Adrian said smoothly, his voice like honey over poison. "He's a monster. Come with me, and I'll protect you." Selena's chest tightened. She didn't know who to trust. Damian was dangerous, terrifying, but Adrian was a stranger, and something about his smile felt wrong. Before she could respond, Damian arrived, his fury unmasked. His eyes glowed, his aura radiating pure dominance. "She's mine," Damian growled, his voice carrying the weight of the wolf within. Adrian's smirk widened. "We'll see about that." The two men clashed, their power shaking the ground beneath them. Selena stood frozen, caught between two worlds she barely understood. And when Damian finally dragged her back into his arms, shielding her once again, his words sealed her fate. "You can run, Selena. You can fight me. You can hate me. But you'll never escape me. Because the bond has already chosen. And it won't let you go." Her heart pounded as his eyes glowed brighter than ever, silver fire burning into her soul. And for the first time, Selena wondered if she hated him, or if she feared how much she wanted him. Part 2. Betrayal of Blood. The storm outside raged against the windows, thunder rolling like drums of war. Selena sat in the corner of Damian's study, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. Hours had passed since Adrian's attack, but her heart hadn't slowed. She could still see Damian and Adrian clashing, their strength far beyond human. She could still hear the growls that shook her bones, the unspoken truth gnawing at her. These men weren't ordinary. And neither was she, not if what Damian kept saying was true. "You're pale," Damian said from behind his desk. His voice was smooth, deep, but laced with command. "Eat something." Selena snapped her gaze to him. He sat in his leather chair, a king behind his throne, calm as though the night hadn't been drenched in blood. "I'm not hungry," she muttered. "You are," Damian replied evenly. "You're just too stubborn to admit it." Her jaw tightened. "Stop acting like you know me." He leaned forward, his silver-gray eyes locking on hers. "I do know you. Better than anyone else ever will." Her pulse spiked at the intensity in his gaze. She hated how her body betrayed her, how it reacted to him despite the fury in her chest. "You don't own me," she said through clenched teeth. "Don't I?" His lips curved in a half-smirk, but his tone wasn't mocking. It was dangerous, certain. Selena wanted to throw something at him, to scream, to demand answers. But before she could, the door opened, and one of Damian's men entered. "Sir, we've traced the attack back to Knight's compound. He's moving quickly, gathering allies." Adrian Knight. The name alone sent a shiver down Selena's spine. She remembered his smile, too charming, too perfect. The way his eyes had studied her like she was prey. "Let him gather them," Damian said coldly. "He can bring an army. It won't save him." Selena rose suddenly. "Enough." Her voice cracked, but she didn't stop. "I'm not some prize for you two to fight over. I want out." Damian's gaze darkened, and for a moment, silence suffocated the room. Then he rose, slow and deliberate, and crossed to her. "You think this is a game?" he growled, his voice vibrating like thunder. "You think you can walk away after what you've seen? After what you've awakened in me. Selena's back hit the wall as he loomed over her. His presence was suffocating, but his words were worse. What do you mean? She whispered. His eyes glowed faintly, silver fire dancing in the shadows. The bond, Selena. You feel it too. The way your pulse races when I'm near. The way you dream of wolves even though you've never seen one. You can't run from it. Selena's heart hammered. You're insane. Am I? His voice dropped lower, almost tender. Or are you afraid because part of you already knows I'm right? The following days were a blur of confusion and dread. Selena tried to ignore him, to pretend she wasn't tangled in a world of wolves and mafia wars. But the mansion itself felt alive, humming with energy that seeped into her bones. And then came the letter. It was delivered to her room, written in neat handwriting she hadn't seen in years. Selena, if you're reading this, then you've stepped into a world I hoped you'd never find. Please meet me. Alone. Tonight. At the old chapel. Mother ***. Selena's hands shook as she read it. Evelyn Blackwood. The woman who had abandoned her. The woman she hadn't heard from in over a decade. She should have been furious. But instead, a strange hope flickered in her chest. Answers. Finally, answers. The chapel was a ruin, standing silent beneath the moonlight. Selena wrapped her coat tighter around herself as she pushed open the creaking door. Selena. The voice made her freeze. Her mother stood at the altar, older, weary, but unmistakable. Evelyn's eyes shimmered with unshed tears as she stepped forward. You came, Evelyn whispered. Selena's throat closed. 1,000 emotions surged at once. Anger, longing, disbelief. Why now? She demanded. Why after all these years? Evelyn's face crumpled. Because you're in danger. Because Damian Volkov has you. Selena flinched. You know him. Her mother nodded. I knew him before you were born. Before everything fell apart. The air grew colder, the silence heavier. What are you talking about? Selena pressed. Evelyn's gaze darted away, guilt written across her face. Your father. Your father wasn't the man you thought he was. He was part of their world. The wolves. The mafia. I tried to protect you, Selena, but... A low growl cut through the chapel, freezing the blood in Selena's veins. Damian stepped from the shadows, his eyes blazing silver. Selena's breath caught. He looked like a storm incarnate, fury radiating from every line of his body. You, Damian snarled, his voice shaking the walls. You dare show your face. Evelyn's expression hardened. I came for my daughter. She doesn't belong to you. She belongs to no one but me, Damian thundered. And you will not poison her with your lies. Selena's gaze snapped between them, her chest heaving. Someone tell me the truth. What happened? But neither answered. They stood like predators facing off, hatred crackling between them. Selena felt her world splintering. Her mother, her only blood, facing Damian, the man who claimed her soul. And in that moment she realized something chilling. No matter who she chose, she would lose. Adrian appeared not long after. Smooth, smiling, as though he'd been waiting for his cue. Poor Selena, he said softly. His eyes glinting in the moonlight filtering through the chapel windows. Caught between a liar and a monster. Selena's heart lurched. What do you mean? Adrian's smile widened. Did Damian tell you who killed your father? The world stilled. Selena's pulse roared in her ears as she turned to Damian. His jaw was tight, his fists clenched, but he said nothing. Adrian's voice was silk over daggers. Of course he didn't. 'Cause it was him. Damian Volkov killed your father. Selena's knees buckled. The room spun. Her mother's gasp echoed her own shock. She stared at Damian, desperate for denial, for anything. But his silence was worse than any confession. Her world shattered. That night, Selena locked herself in her room, her chest aching with betrayal. Tears carved hot paths down her face as she clutched the letter from her mother. Damian had killed her father, the man who haunted her childhood memories, the man whose absence had carved holes into her life. And Damian hadn't even denied it. Yet, deep down, part of her burned with confusion. He had saved her, protected her, looked at her like she was the only light in his dark world. How could both things be true? Her heart warred with itself, and for the first time, she wished the bond didn't exist at all. But bonds don't break. And as the moon rose higher, Selena felt her veins burn, her body trembling with something she couldn't explain. Her wolf stirring for the first time. The bond was awakening, and it would drag her deeper into the shadows, whether she wanted it or not. Remember to subscribe, like, share and comment. Part 3. The Wolf's Awakening. The moon was merciless that night, its silver light spilling through Selena's window like a spotlight she could not escape. She lay curled on her bed, her body burning, her skin damp with sweat. Her heart raced erratically, every beat louder than thunder in her ears. She didn't understand what was happening. All she knew was that something inside her was tearing free. Her veins felt like fire. Her bones ached, her nails digging into the sheets as waves of heat and pain ripped through her. She wanted to scream, but the sound that clawed out of her throat was not human. It was a growl. Her eyes flew open, and for the first time in her life, the world glowed differently. She could see every detail in the shadows, every movement outside the window, every flutter of wings in the night sky. Her senses were alive, heightened beyond reason. Selena staggered to her feet, gripping the bedpost for balance. Her reflection in the mirror made her gasp. Her eyes glowed faintly, the same silver hue that haunted her dreams. "No," she whispered, stumbling back. "No, no, no." The truth slammed into her like a blade. Damian hadn't been lying. She wasn't just human. She wasn't normal. She was one of them. The door burst open, and Damian stepped inside. His expression unreadable, but his eyes blazing with recognition. "It's happening," he said softly. Selena backed away, shaking her head violently. "Stay away from me." His gaze softened, though his body radiated restrained power. "Selena, listen to me. You can't fight this. The wolf is part of you. It always has been." Her hands trembled, her chest heaving. "No. You killed my father. You ruined everything. And now you're telling me I'm like you." Damian flinched, just barely, but his voice was steady. "I did what I had to. And yes, you're like me. Mine. You always were." Tears blurred her vision. "Don't you dare say that. Don't you dare claim me." But her body betrayed her. Every cell burned with recognition of him. The bond screamed for him, her wolf clawing at her chest, demanding she step closer instead of farther. Damian's jaw clenched. He wanted to hold her to ease her fear, but he knew the fire in her eyes was too raw. Instead he said only, "You'll hate me tonight. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe forever. But the truth won't change. You're awakening, and nothing will stop it now." The following days were agony. Selena's body shifted between moments of unbearable heat and chilling cold. Her senses were sharper, her instincts restless. She could hear conversations whispered down the hall, smell the faintest trace of smoke from the kitchens, feel Damian's presence even when he was nowhere near. And the dreams. Every night, she ran through forests bathed in moonlight. Wolves howled in the distance, calling to her. Sometimes she was the wolf, sometimes she was the prey. But always Damian was there, chasing her, protecting her, binding her. Terrified her. But what terrified her more was that some nights, she wanted him to catch her. One evening, she found herself on the balcony overlooking the estate. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of pine and storm. Selena gripped the railing tightly, trying to steady the chaos within her. "You'll break it if you hold on any tighter." Her chest tightened at the sound of his voice. Damian stepped into the moonlight, his presence suffocating yet magnetic. "I didn't ask you to come," Selena muttered. And yet here I am, he replied calmly. She turned sharply. Why? Why me? Out of everyone in this world, why are you so obsessed? His gaze locked onto hers, silver fire flickering in his eyes. Because fate doesn't make mistakes. Selena shook her head, furious tears spilling down her cheeks. Fate. You killed my father, Damian. You tore apart my family, and now you expect me to believe this. This curse is destiny. He was silent for a long time. Finally, he said quietly, Your father wasn't the man you thought he was. Her chest heaved. Don't you dare try to justify it. I don't need to justify it, he growled, stepping closer. I need you to understand. He was working with Adrian. He betrayed my pack. He betrayed you. Selena froze, her blood running cold. That's a lie, she whispered. Damian's eyes burned. It's the truth. I didn't kill him because I wanted to. I killed him because if I hadn't, you wouldn't be standing here tonight. Her breath caught. The truth twisted like a knife. Could it be real? Could her father, the man she had mourned all her life, truly have been the traitor? Her heart screamed denial, but her wolf stirred uneasily, whispering that Damian's words carried weight. The fragile moment shattered when alarms blared through the mansion. Shouts echoed down the halls, and Damian's men rushed past the balcony. Adrian had struck again. Damian's body tensed, his eyes flashing. Stay here. But Selena's instincts screamed otherwise. Something deep in her blood demanded she move, demanded she fight. Her wolf surged, clawing to be free. When Adrian's men broke through the gates, Selena didn't stay put. Ran. The battlefield outside was chaos. Wolves shifted midair, bodies colliding with bone-crunching force. Blood stained the grass, and the night air was thick with snarls and gunfire. Selena stumbled, overwhelmed by the violence, until a hand grabbed her wrist. Adrian. He pulled her close, his smile sharp and wicked. You don't belong to him, Selena. You belong with me. Let me go, she struggled, but his grip was iron. You don't understand, do you? Adrian hissed, leaning close. You're more than just some girl caught in a war. Your power. Your bloodline. And with you by my side, I'll destroy Damian and take everything he holds. Selena's stomach twisted. You're insane. Am I? His eyes gleamed. Or has Damian just been lying to you like he lied about your father? The words cut deep, slicing at her fragile faith. But before she could respond, Damian crashed into them, his wolf blazing in his eyes. The two alphas clashed violently, the ground shaking beneath their fury. Selena stumbled back, her wolf howling inside her, demanding to be unleashed. And then it happened. Her body convulsed, her vision spinning. Her skin burned, her bones shifting, breaking and reforming. Pain ripped through her, but it was pain laced with power. She fell to her knees, a scream tearing from her throat, except it wasn't a scream anymore. It was a howl. When it was over, she was no longer human. Her body was sleek and powerful, her senses wild and sharp. She looked down at herself in shock, paws where her hands had been, silver fur glistening in the moonlight. She was a wolf. For the first time, the truth was undeniable. She wasn't prey. She wasn't powerless. She was one of them. And she would never be the same again. Adrian staggered back, his smirk replaced by hunger. So it's true, he breathed. The shadow Luna lives. Damian's chest heaved as he shielded her, fury radiating from him. Touch her again and I'll tear you apart. But Adrian only laughed, retreating into the shadows with his men. Enjoy your little victory, Volkov. She'll see the truth soon enough. And when she does, she'll choose me. The night fell eerily silent, leaving only the sound of Selena's ragged breaths as she shifted back, trembling, naked and vulnerable in Damian's arms. He held her tightly, his voice rough with both pride and desperation. You see now, he whispered. You're mine, Luna. And no one, Not Adrian, not the council, not even fate itself, will take you from me. Selena clung to him, her body shaking, her heart torn between hatred and undeniable bond. Because no matter how much she wanted to deny it, one truth had finally awakened within her. She was his. And she wasn't sure if she loved him for it, or hated him more than ever. Part 4. Eternal Shadows. The night after Selena's first shift was heavy with silence. She sat wrapped in a blanket on the edge of Damian's massive bed, her body trembling from exhaustion, her mind reeling from the impossible truth. She had become a wolf. Her entire world, everything she thought she knew, had crumbled in an instant. She had mourned her father, hated Damian, feared Adrian. But now she was forced to confront a new, terrifying reality. She wasn't human. She wasn't normal. She was fated. Damian sat across the room, leaning against the wall, watching her like she was both the most precious treasure and the most fragile storm. His eyes glowed faintly even in the dark. He hadn't left her side since the battle ended. Selena pulled the blanket tighter around herself. You knew. Yes. His voice was quiet. You knew all along what I was. That this would happen. I suspected. He shifted closer but not too close. The bloodline doesn't lie. You are your father's daughter. Her throat tightened. Don't you dare speak about him. Damian's jaw clenched. You still don't believe me. I can't believe you, she snapped, tears stinging her eyes. If I do, then everything I've hated you for, everything I've blamed you for, it all changes. And I don't know who I am without that hate. For once, Damian had no reply. The silence stretched between them, thick with the weight of truth neither wanted to face. The next morning the council arrived. Selena had never seen such creatures before. Powerful alphas from across the world, their eyes glowing with authority, their presence suffocating. Men and women both, dressed in dark robes embroidered with silver threads that shimmered like the moon itself. They gathered in Damian's grand hall, their voices echoing like thunder. The girl has shifted, one of them said, his voice deep and commanding. The Shadow Luna has returned. Selena stiffened. Shadow Luna. The eldest of the council stepped forward, her hair white as snow, her gaze piercing. Your bloodline is older than even Damian knows. You are not simply a wolf. You are the descendant of the shadow line, wolves born once in a century, tied directly to the moon itself. Your power will shape the balance of every pack, every alpha. Selena's knees threatened to give out. That's impossible. But the woman only smiled grimly. Impossible is a word humans use. You are no longer human. The words cut deep. Damian's hand brushed hers, steadying her. She's not ready for this. She doesn't have a choice, another councilman said sharply. Adrian grows bolder. His claim grows stronger. And if he takes her? He won't, Damian growled. His aura flared, silencing the chamber. But the council's warning clung to Selena's chest like chains. If Adrian took her, everything would burn. That night, Selena wandered the halls alone, unable to sleep. The walls of Damian's mansion felt less like protection and more like a cage. Every step she took echoed with doubt. Her father, the lies, the truth, the bond, and Damian. She found herself on the balcony again, staring out at the moon. Its light washed over her, calming and cruel all at once. You look lost. The voice sent a shiver down her spine. Adrian stepped from the shadows, his presence smooth and intoxicating. She should have screamed, but something in his aura held her still. You shouldn't be here, she whispered. And yet, here I am. His smirk was infuriating. Damian isn't the only one who can slip through shadows. Selena's pulse quickened. What do you want? Adrian's eyes glowed red in the moonlight. I want you to see the truth. Damian killed your father because he feared your family's power. He'll never admit it, but deep down you know it. That's not, she shook her head, fighting his words. Adrian stepped closer, his voice dropping low. Do you feel it when he touches you? That pull. That bond. It's not love, Selena. It's a cage. Fate doesn't care about love. It only cares about control. Her breath caught. His words cut into her doubts, feeding the storm inside. I can break that bond, Adrian whispered. I can set you free. For a moment she almost believed him. Almost. But then Damian's presence slammed into the balcony. His aura filling the space like a storm. Get away from her. The growl in his voice shook the stones beneath their feet. Adrian chuckled, retreating into the shadows. Think about it, Selena. Who do you want to be, his possession or your own master? And then he was gone, leaving Damian seething and Selena shaking. The days that followed were suffocating. Damian tried to shield her, but Selena's thoughts twisted endlessly. Adrian's words lingered, poisoning her mind. At night she dreamed of chains. Some nights they were Damian's hands, other nights Adrian's eyes. She couldn't tell which terrified her more. Her wolf stirred restlessly, caught between two alphas. And then the betrayal came. It was one of Damian's own men. A guard who had sworn loyalty, who had eaten at Damian's table. But greed had no limits. He sold information to Adrian. He opened the gates. The attack was swift and merciless. Selena woke to the sound of shattering glass and howls in the night. Flames consumed the east wing of the mansion, smoke choking the halls. Damian burst into her room, blood streaking his jaw, his eyes wild. We have to move. Before she could speak, Adrian appeared in the doorway. His smirk wicked, his men at his back. It's over, Volkov. Selena's heart stopped. She was trapped between them. Adrian's gaze locked onto hers. Choose, Selena. Come with me, and I'll spare him. Stay with him, and I'll burn everything you've ever touched. The room spun. Damian's hand gripped hers tightly. His voice low, desperate. Don't listen to him. He'll destroy you. Adrian's voice cut like silk. Or I'll free you. Tears burned her eyes. She couldn't breathe. The bond screamed Damian's name, but Adrian's promise of freedom clawed at her heart. And then the choice was ripped from her. A blade flashed. Traitor's strike. Selena screamed as Damian staggered, blood staining his shirt. No! Something inside her shattered. Her wolf surged, not with confusion this time, but with pure, unrelenting fury. Silver fire erupted from her body, a howl tearing through the night so powerful it shook the mansion itself. Wolves collapsed under its force. Men dropped their weapons, shadows split apart. Adrian stumbled back, eyes wide. The shadow Luna. Selena's power radiated like the moon itself, wrapping around Damian, shielding him, tearing through Adrian's army. For the first time she wasn't prey. She wasn't trapped. She was alpha. The battle was brutal. Blood painted the floors, screams echoed in the night. Selena fought beside Damian, her wolf untamed and merciless. Together they were unstoppable, a storm of silver and shadow, a bond forged in fire and blood. When Adrian finally fell to his knees, beaten and broken, his smirk had vanished. You'll regret this, he hissed. The bond will destroy you both. Selena's eyes glowed as she stood over him, power coursing through her veins. No, it will make us stronger. With one final strike, Damian ended it. Adrian's reign, his lies, his poison, all silenced. The war was over. But victory came with scars. The mansion was in ruins. Damian's pack had suffered. Blood had been spilled that could never be forgotten. And Selena stood at the edge of it all, staring at the moon, wondering if she had won or if she had simply stepped deeper into fate's cruel game. Damian found her there, his body battered, his eyes still burning with that silver fire. You saved me, he said softly. She turned, her heart aching. I didn't do it for you. His smirk was tired but genuine. Liar. She wanted to argue, but the bond thrummed between them, undeniable. She hated him. She wanted him. She was his and he was hers. Selena took a deep breath, her voice trembling. What happens now? Damian stepped closer, his hand brushing her cheek. Now. We rebuild. We rule. We survive. Together. Her heart pounded. She should have pulled away. She should have fought him. But instead, she let herself lean into his touch, just for a moment. 'Cause maybe Adrian was wrong. Maybe fate wasn't a cage. Maybe it was a crown. And for the first time, Selena wasn't afraid to wear it.